Morning guys, how we doing? Welcome to today's coffee chat show, and the topic of today's chat is how much does it really cost to live here in the city and in the Pattaya area. So I've been asked quite a few times. I did do this video a few years back, so I thought, well, let's revisit it. Things have changed a lot since I did that video, so I thought, well, let's go through it step by step. What I will do is Bo will very kindly put a lot of video overlays on of what's happening here in the city right here, right now, so you won't have to look at me for too long. But I want to go through 8 key points of things that if you are going to come out here to live, then you need to bear in mind and factor into the cost of your living when you get out here. The figures I'm going to quote you guys are just ballpark figures. They're not specific to every individual because some people's lifestyle will be very different to others, so obviously you've got to take that into account. But I just want to give you a general idea as to what to expect if you are coming out here to live. Now, at the time of making the video, the exchange rate is 43 and a bit, so let's just round up to 44 baht. So when I'm talking in baht, you can convert it back into your own currency. So it's 40, so let's say 44 baht to the pound, the English pound, and then do your conversions likewise so you can give yourself an idea about your local currency. So, you're coming out here to live. First thing I would say, guys, is please, before you make any kind of commitment, any kind of big major decision in order to come out here to live, please do yourself a favour and come out here and stay on a long stay holiday. 3 months is a given. You will take the gloss away from doing the nightlife and all the stuff that maybe you're throwing yourself into when you're on holiday. So please try and find yourself a way of coming out here for a long term, 3 months, before you make that commitment. If you can afford to retire anyway and you're going to come out here, well then 3 months is not an issue. But it gives you time to really get yourself into the flow about whether or not this city or the areas that we've got around the city is a place that you actually want to live rather than just come here and maybe have a nice holiday. So let's get stuck into it. Number 1, what area will you live in? So you've got 5 options. You've got Naklua, which is the north of the city. You've got Pattaya, you've got Jomtien, which is the south of the city. You've got East Pattaya, and you've got the actual city centre itself. And these are very different areas. If you stay here in the city, it's going to be more expensive for you to find accommodation. So the accommodation you're going to have obviously is either a condo or a house. Condominiums, you can get a condo in the city centre from anything between, if you ballpark figure 10 to 20,000 baht, that will give you a good range for you to decide what you want. Maybe you want a smaller condo, maybe you want a bigger condo, depends on your own personal experience. But if you budget between 10 to 20,000 baht for a condo in the city centre, you won't go far wrong. As you start spreading out to areas like Naklua, Jomtien, Pattaya, obviously that price will be slightly less. I mean, some buildings will be more because they're brand new and they're nice spec. But if you average away from the city centre, if you look at a condo, you're looking at between 8,000 to probably 15,000 outside of the city centre per month. These figures I'm giving you per month. Over on the east side of Pattaya, we don't have many condominium blocks, but we have houses. But houses come at a premium rate. Right now, the property market, I was only with Martin the other day from Cornerstone Real Estate, and he was telling me about how the demand is high and the availability is low. But right now, houses are commanding a very, very high rent in comparison to what they were 10 years ago. But I guess that's the same around the world. But if you get a house, over on the east side of Pattaya. Now, depending on where you are, they've got lots of little villages or they've got standalone houses in roads. So if you go into a village, you can get a house anything between sort of 12 to 25,000 baht, maybe 30,000 baht a month, depending on how many bedrooms. In a standalone road of a private owner, you might be able to get it a little bit cheaper. So some of the other villages, though, if you go to some of these bigger villages, you're talking 25 to 50,000 baht per month for a house. And some places, even more, depending on what you're looking for. So, to kind of give yourself the idea and give it a lot of thought before you commit to whatever property it is you're looking at, be it a condominium or be it a house. Because what you got to factor in is, do you want space? Will you have friends visiting? Will you have guests visiting? Are your family going to come across? All these kind of things you need to factor into the what if scenario, because if you can't deal with the what if happens, then you've got yourself a situation. And also, do your due diligence. Get there of an evening, see what the nightlife's like. Is it going to affect you with the drinking, etc., people, noise levels, bars, parties, during the morning, see what's going on in the morning. All these kind of things, guys, have a look at before you commit to the paper and you've committed yourself to where you're going to stay. Number 2, transport. So you're here, you're going to have to get around. Now, we've got various options around. We've got a Bolt taxi, we've got the motorbike taxi, we've got BART buses, we've got normal car taxis. You could even go and buy a motorbike, or you could even buy a car, depending on where you're living. So Bolt, in my opinion, is absolutely a game changer. It tells the driver where you are. You can tell the driver where you want to go to. You don't even need to speak to him. So if you can't speak the language, you've got no issues whatsoever. And it will tell you what it is. Bolt trips are very, very reasonable. So every trip you take around the city, you're going to average, depending on how far you're going, but let's just say average 50 baht a trip. Some trips will be less, some trips will be more. On a motorbike, if you go with a car, then average about 100, 120 baht per journey, and you can't go far wrong. But the situation you're going to put into account now is where are you living? Because if you can't walk the area, well, then you're going to have to get a taxi or a bike, motorbike taxi or a normal Bolt. If you're in the city centre, you can use the BART bus. BART bus is fine, 10 baht a job. So again, kind of factor in these things about how many times you think you're going to be going out, how many times you're going to need transport. These are all factors that you need to build into when you're coming out here to your total monthly budget. Buying a motorbike. You can buy a motorbike. That's not a problem. You can buy a car. Cars are expensive. They hold their value incredibly well. You won't be happy when you see the price. You think, bloody hell, how old's that car and that's how much? But that is what it is out here. So you're going to have to adapt to that. I mean, the fuel prices at the moment are between 32 to 40 baht per litre. And again, if you get a motorbike, you buy a brand new motorbike between 40,000 baht to 80,000 baht, depending on what kind of bike you want. If you want some of the bigger bikes like the 4Zs and all that, then that's 100 plus upwards. But for a normal ride around the city, a twist and go, you can get a bike between 40,000 and 60, 70,000 baht, no dramas whatsoever. And in terms of a tank, when I fill my motorbike tank up, I've got a little twist and go. It costs me about 140 baht, and that will last me all week. So that'll give you an idea as to how much. And I ride around bits and pieces. Admittedly, right now I don't do that much riding. I walk everywhere. But again, that goes down to where you're staying. I'm in the city centre, so I can literally walk everywhere I want. But if you're out in Jomtien, Pratunat, Naklua, east side of Pattaya, you're going to need transport. So factor that one in, guys. Number 3, food. So you might want to be someone that likes to cook, or you might think to yourself, no, I don't like cooking, I'll go out and eat every day. These all factor in as to your monthly budget. Let's talk about eating in your house, in your condo or in your house. So if you go to eat, go to the markets. We've got lots of markets here. You can pick up a weekly shop of food, including your meat, your vegetables, the rice and all that kind of stuff. You can pick up that for 2,000 baht a week, no dramas whatsoever. And that'll give you a good selection of food to choose from and to cook from. And if you can't cook, maybe you've got a partner or a girlfriend or a wife that can cook. So again, put that into the factor. But then, if you have got a partner, remember, you're doubling the amount of food you're eating. And trust me, Thai women can eat. We do have expat food stores here. The price of the food is slightly high because obviously they've got to import it. But you will be paying a bit more than what you'd expect. But again, you do have the facility and the option there. If you want to get Falang food, foreign food as we call it, then you've got the option there. There are plenty of places here that can take care. Friendship, villa stores, all those places. They've got a great selection, fantastic selection. So you probably find everything you need. If you're someone that can't cook or doesn't have a partner that can cook for them and you're living on your own, well, now you've got to decide, can you eat Thai food? And if you can, fantastic. Or are you going to stick to the foreign food or to food from your home country? Well, then you're going to have to think about the prices again there. Thai food, you can comfortably eat Thai food once a day for 60 baht per meal. So if you round up to 150, 200 baht per day for your Thai food, you're going to be absolutely quids in. So 200 baht a day, you're talking 6,000 baht per month in Thai money for eating 2 meals a day, and that'll be fine. You'll have a good selection of food there. If you can't, then you've got to start looking around. Now, you're very lucky. We've got some fantastic restaurants out with people like Cheap Charlie's, all these Hungry Hippo, all these different places, which will accommodate you if you're on a more stringent budget. Likewise, if you can splash your cash around and enjoy yourself, where you've got some brilliant restaurants, people like Harlan's, Patrick's, Robin Hood, Robin's Nest, all these different places there. What's the other one I'm thinking of? Jolly's. All these places here have got fantastic food options. So you need to budget really for a mid-sized range food between 2 to 350 baht per meal. If you're going to go for your steaks and stuff, well, obviously that's going to be a bit more. So you're looking at about 800 baht up to, say, maybe 1,200, 1,500 baht per meal. Now, how many meals you can choose to buy per week, that's down to you. I'm just giving you these figures so you can do your own calculations. Right, so that's your food. Next one, number 4, activities. Trust me, when you live out here, you must get something to do. Otherwise, you will be climbing the walls with boredom. This kind of goes back to the initial one about where you're going to live. So where you live, have a look around the area. Are there gymnasiums? Are there clubs that you can join, like badminton clubs and fitness, cycling clubs, all these kind of things, golf? These are the sort of things you want to factor into your decision as to where you where you live. So when you are here, gyms. We've got a load of gyms here. There's loads and loads of gyms to choose from. As an average, and this is just an average, There are different deals available out there, but again, I'm just giving you ballpark figures. If you average 1,000 baht per month of your gym membership, then that's pretty much what you're going to aim for, and you'll be okay with it. You'll have a selection of gyms to choose from. Cycling, I used to do a lot of cycling. Me, Dave Strachan, Michael, some good friends, we used to go and cycle every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 50 to 70 kilometres per morning. I just don't have the time to do it, but again, it's a great way of exercise. You can buy a nice bike, and I'm talking a nice bike now for like 20 to 30,000 baht, and it will last you the journey, and you can go out there and enjoy yourself cycling around. And there's some great places to cycle. You go to Big Buddha Mountain, cycle down to there, and all the rest of it. There's some really good fun routes. So again, activities like that need to keep you occupied. Otherwise, if you're in a situation where you get bored easily and you've got nothing to do, the real issue is, and we're going to talk about that in a bit, is later on you might think, oh, do you know, I just nip down and have a beer down the local, it'll be okay. And then it's a spiral downwards. So make sure you get some exercise. Just go on a walk. You know, one of the things that I do quite often is I'll get a Bolt taxi and take me to a random location, and I'll walk back to where I am, either here in the office or back to my apartment. So, you know, think, right, I'll pick 5 kilometres and just take the taxi, drop me there, boss, cheers, thank you very much, and walk back. And then you've got no choice of it, but it's a good way of exercising. Try and incorporate meetups. There are some communities here, some clubs, etc. So have a look for those. If you've got a particular interest in something, it might be like flying or whatever. I don't know. There's lots of different stuff here going on. But just, you know, figure that in. You need to get it into your mindset. Number 5. This will be the one that will destroy your budget and will eat you up and spit you out in pieces. Nightlife. Now, as you know, we are famous for having a fantastic nightlife here, and we do have an incredibly good nightlife here. There's no doubt about it. But you have to be very, very careful. So, depending on what your budget is, now there's a few things to factor in. So, if you like a beer, well, you're lucky. There's a lot of places here offer happy hours. You can pick up a beer from like 50 baht up to 75 baht for different happy hours. So you have to go and figure those ones out and have a wander around. But you'll see plenty of them available. There's loads and loads available. As well as happy hours, you're going to have parties. We call you the balloon chaser. So if there's some people here, you know, I get it. Maybe things are a little bit tight, but if you see balloons outside a bar, normally it's a party, which means that you can go in, nurse one Leo for 2 hours, out come the food, get your free food, and then you sod off. You might be thinking, no, seriously. But yeah, people do that. You know, and at the end of the day, if that's what they need to do in order to survive, because maybe they've underestimated the cost of living out here, well, then I hope they survive. You know, it's just one of those things. But you will have places where you can go to where you can get party food like that. However, the biggest problem you're going to have is company. Now, if you're happy living on your own, fine, not an issue whatsoever. Good on you, crack on, it's your life, you live it as you wish. But one of the things that has considerably, and I mean considerably, increased in the prices is the price of a company. The price of a company nowadays has gone through the roof in terms of not necessarily in the location, but afterwards. So you're going to have to really play that one carefully. I can't give you any prices because I don't know myself in terms of like what each individual would charge. I couldn't say, oh, you could budget between 3 to maybe 7,000 baht to have some company for the evening. But, you know, it might be different. It depends on where you're going. You know, we've got go-go bars, we've got beer bars, we've got gentlemen's clubs. You know, there's all these kind of places to factor into where the prices will vary considerably. So, you know, when you are thinking about your entertainment and thinking about keeping yourself occupied with company, etc., you've got to take these into account, guys, because if you don't, then you are going to come literally with your pants down. It is what it is. Unfortunately, the last 2 or 3 years, with what's happened around the world, has driven the girls to an online situation where they've now discovered other things that they can utilize in order to get customers. And so, you know, that means that invariably I think, well, hang on, I've got a guy that's the other side, well, sends me 15 grand a month, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't need to go out. And I get that. You know, for them, it's good luck to the girls. It's their business. It's what they do. So, you know, fair play to them. But you need to figure that out and keep it in. Lady drinks around the city nowadays, average lady drinks, if you was to go from, say, and again, it's location, but if you're talking about in the city centre, the lady drinks average between 100 to, say, 180, 180 baht in normal places. In the go-go's, obviously, it's more expensive. So, again, you're going to factor that one in. And likewise, as I say, if you want some company, then, yeah, you're going to be paying for that. So, you know, there's not really a true figure I can give you in terms of the exact amount. But if you was to budget between 10 to 15,000 baht a month for some company, then you probably will be okay and not go too far wrong. Number 6, day-to-day living. And by that, I mean things like you need a mobile phone. So I pay 1,200 baht a month for my phone package. I've got a good phone package because I use the 5G all the time. But again, you need a phone. So you're going to have to factor that one in. What do you do when you're at home? If you can't watch Thai TV, well, then you need to get a box. If you go to Tukkom on South Pattaya Road, there's a lot of boxes available there on the first floor. Go and ask for an Android box. That'll set you up. I don't think they're a lot of money. I think they're about 800 baht, 1,500 baht, something like that, and they're set up to use the internet. But then when you go back to your condo, you're going to need the internet, or your house, you need your internet. Internet packages here range from 400 baht up to 1,500 baht per month, depending on how much gigabyte and download speed you want, etc. So that's available. But again, something you need to put into the equation and factor in. Clothing. You're going to replace your shirts, your shorts, your pants, your socks, and shoes, everything. So, you could figure that one out. Markets here are very cheap. You can buy a shirt. I mean, I get these shirts here. I go into the Soy Bacow market and I can get 3 of these shirts for 500 baht. No dramas whatsoever. So it's pennies. Likewise with shoes and stuff. If you're into me, I wear open toe flip-flops. That's my scene. I can buy shoes for flip-flops for 100, 200 baht. No dramas. They last a while. So, you have to think then. And also normal expenses. Don't forget when you do shopping. If you're a man, maybe a shave, shower gels, all these kind of things, cleaning your house, your condo, all the liquids you need. So, again, figure these out. I'm going to go through a very quick breakdown at the very end of it, just a ballpark figure to give you an idea. Right, we're at number 7. This one is vitally important. Health insurance. Insurance for day-to-day stuff and visas. You're going to need to keep that in tow, guys, especially if you're pushing towards the twilight years. You need to make sure you have health insurance because hospitals here are very, very brutal in terms of the fact that you need insurance or you've got to pay. And if you've got to pay, you've got to prove that you can be able to pay before they treat you. So, to put it into perspective, an average operation here can easily get into the hundreds of thousands of baht. The more complicated ones can even push past 1 million baht. So you need to make sure you've got that proviso in your bank account should you need it. Or alternatively, there are a lot of health insurance companies out here. Have a wander around, get the best prices. Always read the small print. Make sure you know what you're being covered for, etc. But go and get yourself a health insurance. For an average 50-year-old guy, for a standard package, roughly speaking, from what I'm told by people telling me, you're going to be looking between 40 to 60,000 baht per year, depending on previous illnesses and the conditions, etc. So bear that in mind. Insurance. So you may or may not know, I make quite often reference to Thailand Legal Protection. Speak to Peter. They do a fantastic insurance, 795 baht a month, and they cover you for all the things that are going to approach you should you ever need them, i.e. police, whether you've been in an accident and stuff like that. Maybe you've got a disagreement going on with somebody or you're not sure about contract rentals, etc. All these things, they will help you out. 795 baht a month. Just have a look in the description below. The link is there for you. Go check it out, guys. It's worth its weight in gold. And visas. I won't get into the visa side of it because it's too complex, but what I'll say is you need a visa to get here. So again, if you've got to get a visa, go and speak to Mark at One Stop Visa Services in Soy 6, at the end of Soy 6 by Beach Road. He's got his office down there. Really, really good guy, very, very knowledgeable, and will help you out tremendously. Mention Buzzin, and he'll take good care. He's a very, very good guy. Now, but again, you've got to have yourself a visa in place, so go take a look at what visas are available. And lastly, one that you may not factor into and you might not think about is visits. And you might think, so what do you want to have? Well, you might want to go home, or your family or friends might want to come here. So if you go home, obviously you've got to afford to do that, flights, etc. But when families come here, this is where it gets expensive. This is where it hurts the budget. Because you get your family come out and your friends come out, and to them, they're on holiday, so they want to go to the Nong Nuchis, they want to go to the party life, to the nightlife, they want to go to all these different excursions, and you're tagging along thinking, oh, I've done Nong Nuch 5 times now, it's getting a bit boring. But to them, it's their holiday, so you are going to have to factor that cost in as well. So, when you are living out here, be prepared for family and friends to visit you, and likewise get yourself prepared to go out there and live life as a tourist rather than living life as an expat. So, I've got a little list here. Just go through stuff very quickly. So, condos, between 8 to 15,000 baht. These are just ballpark figures, what I'd say is a mid-range, depending on where you're going to stay. So, let's just say you can get these in these areas at these figures. So, a condo, 8 to 15,000 baht. A house, 12 to 50,000 baht, depending on size, location. If you go on the motorbike taxis and you're using Bolt, etc., you can get around the city, no dramas, but incorporate walking for 1,000 to 2,000 baht per month. That will cover your travels around the city. If you have got a car, remember, fuel's 34 to 40 baht per litre, depending on what you're going to put in there. Food, I would say on the food, we got Thai food, like I said, 200 baht a day, 6 grand a month. If you aim for 500 baht a day for foreign food, then you're looking at 500 there, so you got 15 grand a month there for foreign food. Activities, things like gyms, 1,000 baht a month. Golf is expensive, but if you want to go play golf, you've got to probably allocate like 2,000 baht per round of golf. So multiply that by the amount of times you want to go out. Nightlife, you can go out and spend 1,000 baht a night, no dramas, and you'll have a nice evening out. But that's very little company. If you want company, then that maybe aim for, depending on how long. But if you not want that long, we'll then aim for about 3,000 baht. If you want a bit longer, we'll then aim for between 5 to 6, something around there, depending on where you're going to get them from. The nightclubs here, drinks in the nightclubs are quite expensive. A bottle of Leo or a bottle of local beer between 180 and 240. Again, depending on where you are. Day-to-day expenses, so mobile phones, I pay 1,200 baht. TV, you need internet. Again, internet, 400 baht to 1,500 baht a month, depending on where you want, what provider you're using. I use AIS, never had a problem with them in all the years I've been here, very, very good. Health insurance, for the average 50-year-old guy that's in a reasonable condition, between 40,000 and 80,000 baht per year, depending on what previous illnesses, etc. you've got. Visa, you're going to need visa, and don't forget Thailand legal protection, 795 baht a month, and they'll cover you for everything when you most need them. It's a phone call away rather than going, oh, what do I do now? Family visits, make out of that as you wish, just be prepared to go be a tourist for a couple of weeks. Right, there we are. These are just guides, guys. I'm not an expert. I'm just someone that lives here, and I can share what I know is roughly what I pay and what I know people pay. So please, guys, if you disagree with me, that's fine. No worries. Please share it down below in the comments. And when people share the cost of what they spend on here to live, be respectful to each other, because you're only literally one click away from being blocked and deleted if you start abusing each other. I just won't have it. If someone's kind enough to share their living experiences, please, have a read through, guys. Get the information out of here. And like I say, whatever you're spending, drop it down below. It'd be great to know, to see what we're doing. Maybe you should put, look, I live in a one-bed condo in Naklu and I spend 50,000 baht a month. If you come out here, if you can afford to, I would say that here's 3 brackets. If you can afford to stay here on 1,000 baht a day, you're doing well. 2,000 baht a day, you're having a good time. 3,000 baht a day, you'll have a great time. You really will. Anything over 100,000 baht a month here, you're having a great time. You won't have to worry. All right, there we are. Thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, please remember about the newsletter. We have a newsletter that comes out at the end of every month, packed full of information. So please have a look at that. If you want to be a part of the newsletter, just send me an email, 247pattaya@gmail.com. Just put in the title, newsletter. Don't say hi, blah, blah. It doesn't get read. It just gets picked up by our AI, pumps us into the mailing list, and you'll get the mailing list out, the newsletter out at the end of every month. Bo does a brilliant job on that, so please have a look at that. All right, there we go. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Please, as always, remember to hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon if you'd like to be notified when I bring out a new video. If you haven't already, check out our Instagram. It's all about nightlife, girls, bars, etc. Have a look at that. And please follow us on there. There's over 20,000 members on there. TikTok's all about daytime, beaches, restaurants, hotels, places to visit, things to do. So have a look at that. There's 22,000 members on there. If you haven't already, join us on Discord. Discord, there's over 20,000 members on that one. It's totally free of charge, a wealth of information, and great opportunity to get in contact with people and find out more specific prices, etc. about stuff, and get your feet on the ground in terms of seeing what's going on. And if you'd like to support the channel and the work I do, please become a member here on YouTube. Send me a confirmation that you become a member. We'll give you access to our members-only Discord account. All right, thanks very much for watching, guys. And please, as always, wherever you're in the world, stay safe.